The Sunday night spotlight belonged to rookie David Bodie. Next up, the second place Brewers for 2. There will be plenty of offensive firepower on display as the top 2 teams in the Central battle on NBC Sports Chicago. Nice hot baseball weather for a rare Tuesday matinee here at Wrigley Field. And the second place Brewers are in town. It's a quick 2-gamer. The Cubs hosting Milwaukee here on NBC Sports Chicago. And great to have you with us on this Tuesday afternoon. Along with Jim DeShays, I'm Len Casper. It felt like we all needed an off day just to kind of take in what happened on Sunday night. What a thrilling finish.
Yeah, unbelievable. What a moment for the kid, David Bodie, a moment he will never forget, nor will any of the fans that were in the ballpark. We talk often about the comeback, and a lot of times it's the opposition opening the door for you. So the door creaks open just a little bit, the misplay by Defoe. And then Madsen can't locate, hits Almora, hits Contreras. The door is open further, and then David Bodie steps up and busts it wide open.
He knew it off the bat, and this place was up for grabs. And it's the second time ever a team down 3-0 got a game-ending grand slam. The other time it happened back in the mid-1930s. So the Nationals lost a game they should have won. Then they moved on to St. Louis. The Cardinals probably the hottest team in the National League right now, and basically the same thing happened to them.
Yeah, the Cardinals have won 6 games in a row. Well, the Nationals, a little bit of this is self-inflicted because they've made some moves to kind of weaken their bullpen a little bit. Obviously, that wasn't the intent, but that has been the result. Their bullpen has struggled. Cubs got him, Paul DeYoung, with a walk-off home run last night. A Nationals team has to really be reeling right now.
The next time we see the Cardinals will be the final weekend of the season here at Wrigley Field. They're 5 games out, but only a couple back of Milwaukee, and the Brewers holding that second wild card position. We haven't seen the Brewers since mid-June. The Cubs have won 8 of 11. 7 of the 11 games in this season series have been shutouts.
Yeah, it's been really impressive. The pitching on both sides has been really good. Cubs holding advantage 8 games to 3. They're 4-0 here at Wrigley. Not a whole lot of offense going on for either club. You see the Brewers just 0-71 with runners in scoring position, and the Cubs bullpen has outpitched the Brewers. The Brewer pen has been a strength of their club for most of the year. Not so much against the Cubs, and not so much lately. Their pen has an ERA up over 8 over the last 2 weeks.
Jose Quintana will pitch for the Cubs today. It's always nice when it lines up so he can face the Brewers, because they've never really hit him.
Yeah, 7 career starts against the Brewers, and he has been outstanding against Milwaukee, including this year as a Cub. He's 3-1 with a 1.06 ERA lifetime, 4-1 with an ERA below 1. This is his 4th start against them this year. Shutout ball in 2 of those 3 starts.
So today is one of 8 games left in the season series. The Cubs have 2 series here against the Brewers, 1 back in Milwaukee starting on Labor Day. How important is this series? Is it more important for one team versus the other?
Well, yeah, for the chaser. And it's really important for the Brewers. If the Cubs split this 2-game series, I think that would be a fine result. Obviously, you want to win them both, but the Brewers are reeling right now. They're 5 behind in the loss column. They've got to make up ground.
All right, when we come back, we will hear from David Bodie about his magical Sunday night. We'll hear from Theo Epstein, and a little later we'll get an update on Yu Darvish as we get you set for the Brewers and the Cubs coming up.
By Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. Ford, who invites you to go further in their fuel-efficient vehicles. Check out our entire lineup at your local Ford store or buyfordnow.com. Menards, save big money at Menards. And by Southwest Airlines, low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency.
That's a great cover from the, I believe, AC/DC's second album. Brewers and the Cubs coming up on a nice day here at the ballpark, and all of the baseball world still talking about the dramatic David Bote game-ending grand slam. And how about this? You get tackled at home plate. That's the jersey you might want to actually have as a souvenir. And it got ripped off his back literally by his teammates. A big hug from Kyle Schwarber. And you would have thought it was Game 7 of the World Series. That's what it felt like here at Wrigley. And David made the media rounds yesterday on the radio and talking with the media before the game today about his off day Monday.
Regardless, my daughter was obviously very nervous about the jersey ripping. She called it a sweater. I answered that question 70 times yesterday. What happened? Like, what happened, Dad? What happened? I'm like, it's okay.
Unbelievable. I think that really struck a chord with everyone. I probably got more texts after that game than some of our World Series games.
Right.
There must have been nothing else on, but it was that was one of my favorite regular season games.
Good stuff as Kelly chatted with David Bote, and good stuff from Theo Epstein as well. And again, we'll hear more from Kelly in our next segment as Yu Darvish threw a sim game earlier this morning, and hopefully will be ready for a rehab assignment in the next few days. Jose Quintana for the Cubs, as we mentioned. Jhoulys Chacín, a right-hander, will pitch for the Brewers, his second start of the year against the Cubs. We're going to send it down to the field for today's national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, standing with the team today is World War II veteran Sergeant James Stout. He served for 3 years in the Pacific Theater after basic training in Texas. Thank you, Sergeant Stout, along with all of our current and former servicemen and women, for your service to our great country. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please remain standing and join Peter Michael Pirro as he honors America with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? home of the brave.
Cubs and Brewers on the way, but it's already been a very busy morning here at the Friendly Confines as Yu Darvish threw 3 innings, about 55 pitches in another simulated game. That's the most he's thrown in live BP up to this point. It was David Bodie and Victor Caratini doing some of the hitting, and Theo Epstein looking on, watching the entire session, said afterwards to a group of reporters that if Darvish feels good physically, tomorrow the next step would be a rehab assignment in the minors. Just looking ahead at some of the schedules, the Iowa Cubs are in town throughout the week, so that could make sense for the team. But here's what the manager thought about Darvish's simulated game.
I thought, that I was watching that third inning from behind, and really good stuff. I thought breaking ball, great spin on the breaking stuff, particularly. He was totally involved. He was absolutely competing out there. That's the word I use, because he got upset with himself when he spiked one fastball, which I kind of liked. So totally engaged, looked really good, was not holding back. I talked to the hitters afterwards. Victor had some good hacks on him today too, but him and Bodie comparing notes, so we were all very impressed. So again, it's a one moment at a time thing. Him, KB, you getting them all back. We've talked about this for a while now. I believe it's going to be a great boon to us, but I don't know exactly when that's going to happen. But in the meantime, David Bodie is becoming him. David Bodie, Pedro's done a nice job at the end of the ball game. Other guys have been put in more high leverage moments and have responded well. So a lot of good things are occurring despite some people have not been able to play.
Cubs open to ride the Bodie wave here this afternoon. It's matinee baseball. Quintana for the Northsiders, Chassin for the Brew Crew. A Central Division showdown coming up here on NBC Sports Chicago.
series. Weather-wise, we're going to be okay today. Tomorrow might be a little dicey. With a big crowd on hand, it's the only day game in baseball on this Tuesday. And again, we haven't seen the Brewers in a couple of months. The Cubs have won 8 of the first 11 in this 19-game season series. Both teams off on Monday. And you got a little golf in at Joe Madden's annual tournament.
Madden golf tournament yesterday. It was a very nice turnout. A bunch of money was raised. The spirits were high after the big win Sunday night for the Cubs. So yeah, good to be back in the saddle. I can't believe we didn't get to work that game, but well, P.S. ESPN, please return the chairs with the arms. I'm only going to say it once for the third time.
So Jose Quintana will face the following Brewers Southwest starting lineup. Got some interesting numbers on them here over the last month plus, but we'll start with this. They had 19 hits on Sunday in Atlanta and lost the game 8-7. That's hard to do. Kane, Yelich, Aguilar, all-stars here in 2018. Ryan Braun, Hernan Perez, Mike Moustakas 4, 5, and 6. Eric Kratz catching. Manny Pena took a foul ball off the groin area on Sunday. Orlando Arcia has had a real tough year, has spent some time in the minors. And Chacin, the pitcher, will hit ninth.
Well, let's see who's where for the Cubs on this sultry afternoon. Kyle Schwarber will play left. He has 9 outfield assists this year. That's second most. In the National League, Ian Happ plays center. Jason Hayward is in right. Tommy La Stella gets a starting nod at third. Baez short today. Zobrist and Rizzo on the right side of the infield. Wilson Contreras will be behind the plate. And our starting pitcher, brought to you by Lexus, is Jose Quintana. Lexus experience amazing. A loser last time out in Kansas City for the season. 10 up, 8 down, 4.28 earned run average. League bats .245 against him. So again, our open, how good he has been against the Brewers in his career. Very comfortable facing this Milwaukee team.
It's Phil Cuzzi back at the plate. The crew chief Tom Hallion is at first. Ryan Blackney at the second, and Chicago native Dan Bellino over at third. Looks like the wind, a little right to left action as we get started.
You look at the splits for the Brewers versus left and right-handed pitching, it's pretty much identical. Batting average, on base, and slugging. We've got a dynamic duo at the top of the order here in Kane and Yelich, both in the top 10 in the National League in on-base percentage. It's a tough lineup to pitch against.
Kane had 4 hits on Sunday, and he steps in and takes wide to get us started. There's a blast and a leadoff home run for Lorenzo Cain. He got all of it. So the last 2 swings in this ballpark have been booming home runs. Bodie Sunday night and Cain here today.
That's the second pitch of the ball game, and Cain gets one thigh high out over the plate. A misfire by Quintana. Sometimes you get away with it, sometimes you don't. That's home run number 9 for Lorenzo Cain.
Yelich chops to Zobrist. That'll be the first out.
Yelich normally a patient hitter, but he was in attack mode there, and this may be with Quintana, who throws a high percentage of first pitch strikes. He may be in swing mode early here today.
.87 degrees, a southeast breeze at 8 as we get started. Jesus Aguilar, the first baseman. is the Major League leading 9th leadoff home run allowed by Cubs pitching. Off the inside corner, it's 2-0 on a dangerous hitter. Aguilar, an all-star for the first time. And like Javier Baez, was in the home run derby for the first time. Eliminated in the opening round. Here's the thing about Aguilar. You get him down with 2 strikes, and he has a major league high 55 RBIs. Nobody else has even 40. There's a flare into right for a base hit. So was Aguilar chatting with Cuzzy or Contreras?
I'm not sure.
Because we had reports of maybe a little rift earlier this season between those 2 guys.
Cuzzy or Contreras?
Contreras. Remember, we were in Milwaukee and Contreras was upset at somebody, and there were whispers that it was Wilson. Yeah, he's talking to Cuzzy. Now Ryan Braun. He's been on the DL twice this season with back issues, twice last year with a calf. And he pops foul. Rizzo will give chase, but it'll be out of play.
Yeah, his numbers have gotten better over the last couple of weeks. We'll take a look at Jose Quintana's pitch mix, see what he's going to feature against this Brewer club. And this is his 4th start against them this year. A couple of times he's pitched scoreless ball. The other time he allowed just 2 runs in 6 innings. Heavy fastball curveball mix, occasional changeup for Quintana. So 2-seamer arm side, but the most comfortable fastball is probably that one that cuts in a little bit on the right-handed hitters.
Braun in the air. See you later. 2-run homer for Ryan Braun. That one got out in a hurry.
It's starting to look like the start Q had in St. Louis back at the end of July when he gave up 6 in the first and only managed to pitch 3 innings. It's been good one, bad one, good one, bad one for him of late. Just to get over curveball, it got over all right, then it got out. The Ford home run replay.
This is Braun's 164th career game against the Cubs, 34th home run, his 16th here at Wrigley Field. Every homer he hits is a new club record. 315. Line drive base hit. Hernan Perez. So the Brewers, who could do almost nothing against Quintana previously, have whacked them around here in the first inning.
Maybe just the percentage is starting to catch up to him a little bit. And again, very aggressive are the Brewers here this afternoon. They've come out hacking. Might be time to straighten somebody up, just push somebody off the plate, let everybody know you're going to compete. Starting Kansas City, I think he actually pitched better than the numbers. He went 6 1/3, allowed 6 hits, 5 runs. He gave up 2 in the second, and then he was really cruising along until the 7th. A couple of scratch singles and a 3-run home run, and all of a sudden he was responsible for 5 runs.
Baseball's funny. I don't mean ha-ha funny in terms of Quintana. He had allowed 5 runs against Milwaukee in 7 starts total, and he's given up 3 here in the first inning today. The 1-0 on Mike Moustakas is a strike. This is his 16th game as a Brewer since he was acquired from KC. One and two. Mike Moustakas takes on Jose Quintana, sponsored by AARP.
Kane and Moustakas, the former Royals, have seen a whole bunch of Quintana over the years, both with pretty good numbers against him. Kane had never taken him deep before today.
Two balls, two strikes. Eric Kratz is on deck. Here's the pitch. Softly chopped to the shortstop Baez, and they just can't turn it. It was close at first, and the Cubs will take a look in the video room. But for now, it's a fielder's choice for Moustakas.
Yeah, slowly hit, very difficult to get two here. Moustakas not speedy, but in this instance, speedy enough. Just ahead of the throw.
So the batter is 38-year-old catcher Eric Kratz. And he takes off the inside corner. His 30th start back of the plate. Have been a great comeback team this season, and if they win today, they'll have to do it again. Here's the pitch. 3-0.
Yeah, he's getting better action on that curveball now, but he can't find the strike zone with it.
How hard is it to not feel rattled as a starting pitcher when you give up 2 homers to the first 4 batters?
Very hard.
3-1.
And like a boxer in the first round, when you're just trying to get into the flow of the match, and you take one on the chin, 30 seconds into the round, and you're back on your heels a little bit.
Swing and a miss. That was awkward on a curve, especially on a 3-1 offer.
He was just cheating on a heater there. That's a strong guy, does not have a real quick bat though, so he's trying to get it out in front of a 3-1 fastball, but Quintana fools him big time with the slow curve.
"49 innings over 7 career starts for Quintana against Milwaukee coming into today. 5 runs, 2 homers. So, I mean, averaging 7 innings a start, a 0.92 earned run average. Kratz strikes out on a high one, but the Brewers strike early for 3, and the Cubs bats coming up when we come back. Rizzo, Baez, and Zobrist, the Z men at the top. Hayward, LaStella, and Schwarber in the middle. Contreras, the pitcher, Quintana, and Happ rounding it out.
Brewers defensively, boy, the outfield is a really good group. Bronfley's left. Lorenzo Cain, I mentioned Kyle had 9 outfield assists. Well, Cain tied for the league lead with 10. Christian Yelich rock solid in right. Moustakas Arcia on the left side of the infield. Hernan Perez can play all over. Today he's at second. Aguilar's the first baseman. Eric Kratz will do the signal calling today. And Yolis Chacin is the Lexus Experience Amazing starting pitcher. And he's having a nice year, 11-4 with a 3.91 ERA, leads their club with 25 starts.
A 6-3 righty fires, and Rizzo takes ball 1. The leadoff man is presented by Binny's Beverage Depot, and if Rizzo gets a hit here, Binny's will donate $100 to the Greater Chicago Food Depository. 26th start, leads their club. He's had a nice underrated career, Yolis Chacin.
Yeah, especially when you consider pitching in Colorado and then Arizona, 2 very difficult places to pitch. Now last year he was in a good place to pitch. He was a Padre and won 13 games. He is a really heavy fastball slider, especially the slider. He throws it about 42% of the time, and that's about as much as anybody in the game. The fastball he'll sink, also throw a 4-seamer, and then he just dabbles with the curveball, changeup, split.
Foul tip, strike 2.
Well, he just dabbled on back-to-back off-speed pitches there to Anthony. It's a very left-leaning lineup for the Cubs this afternoon. His right-handed batters are hitting only 190 against him.
Swing and a miss for strike 3. I can cap your point about his slider usage if you'd like.
Cap away.
Only Tyson Ross and Chris Archer have a higher slider percentage rate.
Yeah, and it's just a very small margin. And again, we talk about it a lot. Guys that are a heavy 2-pitch, and Quintana is too, really his fastball curveball. He's not as heavy curveball as Chacin is slider. But when you're basically a 2-pitch pitcher, you got to be really precise or you're going to run into trouble as the game moves along.
First pitch swinging. Baez grounds to third. Moustakas has time and throws him out. So Javi is 0 for 10 on the homestand, and it will bring up Ben Zobrist, the second baseman.
Chacin, a lifetime 3-4 against the Cubs with a .330 earned run average. He's made 7 starts against them. Winless in this ballpark, 0-4 with an ERA just under 5. But last year he pitched against the Cubs, and it was the first time they'd faced him in 5 years. So, the recent work has been good, including 6 shutout innings in Milwaukee back in June.
Zobrist turns on one, and it will end up in the right field corner. So his 400-plus batting average here in the second half will increase. Came in at .407 since the break. That's a 2-out double.
Yeah, he has been locked in for an extended period of time now, and you just anticipate hard contact every time he goes up there. This is a running fastball right over the heart of the plate. Chacin, has not been particularly sharp in this inning. In fact, some of those off-speed pitches he threw Rizzo, and unlike Quintana, he had been able to get away with it up until that swing by Zobrist.
Hayward started the 9th inning rally Sunday night with an infield single. Wow, that ended up being a lot closer than it should have been, as Arcia made a great pick on a bounced throw.
Yeah, he's glaring into the dugout. He wants the Brewers to take a look, and of course they will. Anything close, they're going to look. Quick feet here by Chacin, and a real nice pick and tag. Safe.
Long look by Chacin. From the stretch, the pitch. It is low on a fastball. That's the thing about that ninth inning against Ryan Madsen. You had the 80-foot infield hit, 2 hit batters on off-speed pitches, and that's how they loaded the bases before the Bodie grand slam.
Yeah, typically big comebacks are born out of defensive miscues, whether it's kicking the ball around or a pitcher losing command, hitting guys or walking people. And then somebody gets to be the hero. On Sunday night, it was David Bodie.
Missed again.
And perhaps lost in the shuffle a little bit because of the Bodie heroics, the Cole Hamels stuff. 3 outstanding efforts for Cole so far since putting on a Cub uniform.
Might have been his best as he kept the Cubs in the game, even though the Cubs did not get a run off Max Scherzer. Ball 4. I don't have the exact number, but I heard on the radio it was the 17th or 18th start for Scherzer, in which he had struck out at least 10 and did not allow a run in his career.
Yeah, that was as I mentioned, we didn't get to work it, so I was home on the couch watching it, and that was quite a show. And both the starters in that ball game. Scherzer was grunting very loudly. It was exciting.
Yeah, I heard about that. Well, Cubs down 3, but a 2-out RBI chance with 2 on for Tommy La Stella. And he looked at strike 1.
Strong pull on the infield to step the other way in the outfield for La Stella.
Off the outside edge. 1 ball, 1 strike. Zobrist with a 2-out double. Hayward walked. Now 1 and 2 on La Stella, the Major League pinch hit leader with 17, but he's in the lineup today, playing 3rd and batting 5th.
And slider put away pitch for Chacin. He likes that with 2 strikes in the back door, or try to bury it down and in against the left-handed hitter.
Tip strike 3. Cubs do not score, strand a couple. It's 3-0 Milwaukee after an inning.
Every W counts, so everybody in. We've hit the stretch run, and the Cubs need your support as they chase another NL Central title. Tickets are still available for the Reds and Mets homestand at the end of this month. Get your tickets at Cubs.com.
I want to send out birthday wishes to Cubs catching and strategy coach Mike Borzello, as Orlando Arcia will lead off, and he takes a curve for a strike. So hoping for a big Cubs comeback today for Borzi's birthday. Off the end of the bat, and a soft liner will be caught by Jason Hayward. NBC Sports Chicago is looking for the biggest Cubs fan to appoint as the next Cubs authentic fan of the game, someone who supports the team through thick and thin. Do you have what it takes? Enter at NBCSportsChicago.com/CubsAF. Chacin takes a strike.
He can swing it a little bit. Batting .200 this year.
Homered 5 seasons ago against Randall Delgado of the Diamondbacks.
He got him.
See, this is the kind of Jim DeShays we get after he's been off 2 days. Fresh, pithy. Two, Kane on deck. Swing and a miss, strike 3. High-speed action is powered by Xfinity. So Lorenzo Cain, ground ball up the middle. This is back in mid-June. Yelich caught in a rundown. Now watch Cain as he will come up towards second base. So he's telling Yelich, get on the bag, get on the bag. I'm going back to first, as the Cubs didn't have a defender at first. That was a real heads-up play by a terrific base runner, Lorenzo Cain.
He checks all the boxes. Decent, not great power, but decent power, speed, smart, high average, high on base. Having a 381 coming into this game against left-handed pitching, second in the National League, trailing only Nolan Arenado.
Terrific defender. And he's 2 for 2 in this game.
Man, 4-hit game on Sunday.
You know, when they went out and signed Cain and they traded for Yelich, who will stand in, it was a big indication, and it all happened kind of back to back in the offseason, that the Brewers were all in. And they were able to make some moves in the middle of the season. A lot of people thought they would go out and acquire starting pitching. That was not the case. They did add some bullpen, but mainly position players, as Yelich got jammed and grounds to Zobrist. Bottom 2, Milwaukee 3, Cubs nothing. later on in today's game. I want to send out hearty congratulations to a good friend, Tom Quinlan, who has retired as the Daily Herald sports editor. Tom spent 40 years at the Daily Herald, and Godspeed, Tom, and hope retirement treats you well.
It's quite a run. Congratulations.
Kyle Schwarber leading off for the Cubs here in the second. Ball one. 62 walks leading the club. Well located sinker for a strike.
The zone defense.
Statcast AI powered by AWS.
So you're basically playing a rover position for him. See, that's why, you know, you were talking about the trades that the Brewers made prior to the inning break. Jonathan Scope, second baseman, Moustakas, third baseman. So they've kind of got a crowded picture on their infield. Travis Shaw's played second base now. They're moving guys around. Still play Perez and RC in the middle of the diamond. I think a lot will depend on who's pitching for the Brewers on any given day, how Craig Counsell's going to deploy his guys. And the point that was made at the time was because of all the shifting, it's not as important in today's game. You can play a guy like Travis Shaw out of position on the right side of the infield because a lot of times there's going to be three guys over there.
Chacin strikes out Schwarber. That's an interesting point. Shaw is not in there today. Here's Wilson Contreras.
Kind of crossed everybody up because everybody thought they would, as you mentioned, go for starting pitching, and they added bats.
I'm guessing David Stearns tried to add starting pitching, but just couldn't find the right deal. The real big blow, I think, for them is the fact that Jimmy Nelson, and was it spring training? They were hoping middle of the year.
Yeah, we heard
still on the comeback trail.
Yeah, we heard right after the All-Star break for a while, and then we heard end of July, and then we heard early August, and now we're not hearing a whole lot at all about Jimmy Nelson.
1-1 the count. Brent Suter, Zach Davies. Also on the DL. Milwaukee has used the DL 26 times this season.
But having said all that, this group, their starting rotation has actually been fine. Their starters have outperformed the Cubs. Their starters have a 4.01 ERA, Cubs 4.16.
One and two with Quintana on deck. Aguilar way off the line at first. Give Wilson some room out in left center. Called strike three. That was a front door slider from Chacin.
Strikeout number 4 and 3 in a row. And this isn't where he was trying to go with his pitch. You see Kratz is splitting the outside corner. They're backed up on him, but clung to the inside edge, and Kratz does a nice job presenting it to Phil Cuzzy. Tomorrow, Cubs Brewers 120 yet again, and up to the first 10,000 early arriving fans will take home a Kyle Hendricks bobblehead presented by Las Vegas. Tickets are available at Cubs.com.
Q1 for 37 with 18 strikeouts.
I'd like to tell you it's a hard 027, but it's not.
Well,
how about this brain cramp?
It's 3-0.
And now
take three here.
What have I gotten myself into? I like the take three approach. Absolutely take two. Sometimes this is where the pitcher gets into trouble.
Oh, he caught it. Quintana hit a bullet right back to the box, and Chacin gloved it. Wow.
It is a hard 0-27.
Yes, you misspoke.
It's a rocket.
Still 3-0.
A lot of Bodie buzz this afternoon at the park following his magical moment on Sunday evening. I got to talk to David this morning, and he said he spent the off day with his family, to which he must have answered about 70 times to his 2-year-old daughter, Shaylee. She kept saying, "What happened, Daddy? What happened to the, quote, torn sweater?" She was very distraught over what happened to the jersey Bodie was wearing that night. And then his wife, a very cool story. He said she was watching the game at home and she witnessed the walk-off grand slam, and then opened the door and stepped outside onto the balcony of their Wrigley apartment and could hear the eruption from Wrigley Field, and found herself getting emotional because she grinded and she supported David, guys, for 6 years in the minors, and my understanding is twice when he was ready to quit the game, she said, "No way. Not after we've come this far." So a very special moment for the family as well.
Thank you, Kelly. It is a great story. And it's one that's going to continue for a while.
Love that bit about his wife stepping out on the balcony to hear the crowd. That's really something.
He didn't even get a call from anybody when he got drafted, because it was the 18th round. He was in Africa at the time.
Hey, there's
Vince Lodell
and his niece Ashley.
Yeah, they're enjoying the ball game today. She starts school tomorrow.
Yeah.
Two balls and a strike on Jesus Aguilar, single and a run in the first inning. Quintana's pitch on the outside corner. Changeup for a strike. Three and two.
Soft away, hard in, tried to catch that inside corner. He really tried to jam him in his last at bat, and they did get the ball in on his hands. He was able to push it into right for a base hit. Second to Carpenter in slugging, fourth in the league in on base plus slugging.
Carpenter hit another big home run last night as Aguilar runs the leadoff walk.
Number 8, left fielder, Ryan Braun.
On with a 2-run homer in the first, and was always greeted similarly here at Wrigley Field, but it hasn't seemed to affect him.
It actually may motivate him. When you look at the numbers, it's like, oh yeah, take this.
That homer was his 200th career hit versus Cubs pitching.
He gets booed up in Milwaukee too by the Cub fans because there's so many there. I think that's probably a little more unsettling for him. And there's the big swing on the breaking pitch. With Aguilar on first, back in the first. Well, we were talking about Matt Carpenter there briefly, and he's right in the thick of the MVP conversation as well. He should be. But the one thing that I would discount, some folks are trying to make the case for Carpenter being the MVP because he got off to such a bad start. And that makes no sense to me. I mean, if he overall has a great year, then he's certainly worthy. Oh, no.
Braun does it again. And it's 5-0. I'm not sure if the fan caught it or not. If not, it would have ended up on the street.
Braun has been on the disabled list a couple times this year, and the numbers were down for a while, but lately he has been scorching hot. And he's just crushed 2 Quintana curveballs here today. One not much better than the next. This one absolutely obliterated.
How about the silent treatment for him next time? I'm with you. Maybe the fans need to change up the strategy.
He likes playing the villain.
Curve strike on Perez. 5-zip here in the 3rd inning on 3 Brewers home runs. That's what this offense does well. They hit home runs, they steal bases. Started the day with 152 homers, 2nd in the league. I saw a Craig Counsell quote the other day kind of acknowledging, that's who we are. A lot of times managers will not embrace the fact that you have an offense that relies heavily on the home run. And he just said,
they do hit a lot of them, but I wouldn't characterize them as an all or nothing type club. Because of the guys at the top with Kane and Yelich, high on base guys, Braun, a well-rounded hitter. Got some guys that'll work counts and take walks. It's interesting though, they hit the ball on the ground more than any club in the National League, except for the Marlins. Despite that, they hit a lot of long balls.
Stakis got hit and will head down to first. There's that inside pitch you were talking about.
Yeah, and that might have been just a little pushback, again, advocating drilling anybody, but just the idea of letting everybody know that you're out there to compete and you're going to try to push the people off the plate. You don't want guys getting comfortable. Brewers appear to be comfortable.
This game is the 30th multi-homer game for Ryan Braun. Milwaukee has only lost 4 times when he's hit at least 2 home runs. One and one to Kratz. Late swing and he fouled it off. As you would imagine, Quintana has great individual numbers against most of these Brewers hitters. It has not translated today, however. 2-2.
Struck out Kratz last time with a neck-high fastball after featuring a couple of good curveballs.
Ground ball. They'll try to turn it. And they will. Baez, Zobrist, Rizzo. Drawn another 2-run homer, and it's 5-0 Milwaukee in the third. Cubs into your X1 voice remote and get live team stats on your TV. Change the way you experience TV with Xfinity X1. We'd also like to welcome all those viewers watching and streaming NBC Sports Chicago on USA Communications in Shellsburg, Iowa. And Canadian baseball fans watching on Rogers Sportsnet. Viewers watching us on ESPN UK and around the world on the American Forces Network. 1-0 to Ian Happ, and this is hooked into right. It'll drop. Yelich will pick it up. Happ's got a double to lead off the Cubs' third.
Second hit of the day for the Cubs, second double. This one's leading off an inning. The previous one, Ben Zobrist doubled with 2 outs in the first. I'd say this is a must cash in when you're down 5 runs. Don't assume anything with Yelich out there. He's got very good speed, strong arm. Breeze appears to have picked up a bit, pushing it out a little bit towards left. Byproduct of the shifting now is oftentimes a middle infielder really well positioned to sneak in behind a base runner at second. Anthony swung through a high breaking ball to strike out back in the first. And soft stuff in that sequence from Chacin.
A 2-0 count on Rizzo Friday against Washington. Took 2 huge walks. One to start the game tying rally. The other with the bases loaded, plating the winning run, and then on Saturday notched his 1,000th career hit. Three and 0 to Rizzo. Strike called. 3-1.
Normally you wouldn't want to be overly aggressive with Anthony, but with a 5-run lead, got to be willing to challenge here.
Well, you get something to square up. I thought he did, and he did. And he hit it foul.
A little cutter at 82 miles an hour. His slider's typically 78, 79. He can shape it, make it a little softer and bigger, kind of look like a curveball.
How about that? Reaching across the aisle. Did he high five her? Can't leave her hanging. Full count on Rizzo. A ground ball, and Perez will surround it, and the throw on a bounce is just in time to get Rizzo. That is a tough play for an infielder in the outfield grass. It does get Happ to third with one out.
Gloving it saved a run, at least temporarily, and then he was able also to get an out at first base. Certain amount of risk in this play, because if it gets by, the run scores, but you can't be scared. You got to play the game, and Perez makes a very nice play.
That's why there is a limit in terms of how deep that second baseman can play, because if he's too deep, he doesn't have time to make the throw.
You are a big man, but agile.
So the National League RBI leader here with a runner at first, one out, middleman back. And he hit that one off his foot. Fans think it was a fair ball. Runner at third, I meant Happ. So Baez with a foul strike on him.
Previous play, if Baez is the base runner, he tries to score, right?
Yeah.
And he's probably safe.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm not saying that would have been the right move. It's just, as I was watching that play unfold, that's the first thing that popped in my head. If that was a Javi running and not Ian, he's probably going to try to score. Two outs, Ian may have as well.
Stockus backs up a couple of steps at third. Strike. So well, Chacin thinking punch out. And this is where contact from Baez's perspective is paramount. They're basically giving you a run if you can put something in the middle of the diamond past the pitcher.
Just try to be a little quicker, a little shorter to the ball. You know, it used to be the default play here was a slider or a curveball well off the outside corner, and that's obviously still in play with the guy being so slider heavy. Seen other guys too elevate the fastball in this situation with Baez.
Shaken up after fouling the ball off himself earlier in the sequence. Called strike three. Boy, two high sliders looking to end the at bat. I'm guessing that's not where he wanted it, but it worked.
Yeah, I think he's had a number of not where he wanted it good results here today. The strikeout of Contreras ended up on the inside part of the plate. Got him looking.
So that will leave it up to Zobrist, who whacked a double into the right field corner his first time up.
That jumped on a first pitch fastball.
One ball, one strike. And switch hitting Ben Zobrist. Here it comes. Outside, 2-1. Do not want to leave that base runner on the table here in the third.
No, you know the key at bat in this situation is always the guy up there with one out. He's got an opportunity to get that runner home in many different ways, and puts a lot of pressure on the guy that follows if he doesn't get the job done. I don't think Joe would rather see anybody up there in a situation like this than Ben Zobrist, the way he's been going lately.
Well, guys can get Zobrist out, but they generally know they're going to have to work pretty hard to do it. 3-2 is squibbed foul.
Yeah, tried that cutter, the one that Anthony pulled foul. The one pitch Ben has issues with is the straight changeup. That's not a big part of the game plan for Chacin. Occasionally he'll throw that splitter, same concept.
Ground ball to Perez, and Chacin works out of it. So the Cubs cannot cash in the leadoff double and trail 5-zip at the end of 3. Of the game presented by Miller Lite is Chasers Sports Bar in Lake Zurich. If you aren't headed to Wrigley Field, watch today's NBC Sports broadcast at Chasers Sports Bar and see the complete list of the bars of the game presented by Miller Lite. Visit NBCSportsChicago.com. Ball nose strikes to the struggling Orlando Arcia, who has been sent down to the minor leagues twice this season after playing 153 games with Milwaukee last year. I think the weirdest stat for him, as I looked at his profile, is that his first 2 years, his strikeout rate was below league average. It's 25% this year. That's odd to me that it's gone up that much. His walk rate was below average, but it's gone down even more. So he's
well, that may be, yeah, if you don't walk and the longer you're in the league, guys start to realize that you're going to swing. They keep working out of the zone, and if you don't make an adjustment or find a way to make solid contact on pitches out of the zone, those numbers are going to go down.
Yep. He strikes out on a pitch out of the strike zone.
I throw him a strike, right? Book your summer getaway today to Chicago or DC and let us do the planning for you. Cubs destination travel packages include tickets, hotel accommodations, ballpark tours, Cubs swag, and a private meet and greet with a current player. For more information, visit Cubs.com/destinations.
A strike called on the pitcher Chacin.
Cubs are in the nation's capital early September. 6, 7, 8, 9 4-game weekend set.
That will be a huge road trip. 4 cities, starting with a makeup game in Atlanta, then off to Philly, Milwaukee, and Washington. I don't care how well you're playing, you go into that road trip and you realistically say to yourself, if we roughly go 500, we're feeling good.
If I were Joe and I had that option to take 500 or what's behind the curtain, I'd take 500.
Chacin strikes out for the second time. Cubs fans, show your team pride with Cubs checking and an official Cubs MasterCard debit card, only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Cubs to learn more. Member FDIC.
And when the Cubs get back from that trip, it'll be a 3-game set with the Brewers. So we'll see Milwaukee 6 times in a 10-day stretch.
Kane with a homer and a single.
Q making a little bit more of a commitment to the changeup. Started Arcia with 1, started Kane with 1.
So it's being reported the player to be named later to go from the Pirates to the Rays. And the Chris Archer deal. Line drive caught by Hayward. There's a guy we will tell you about when we come back.
Oh boy, good tease.
Baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. The Cubs have had 2 game-ending grand slams. Jason Hayward against the Phillies. David Bodie versus the Nationals. First time. I love Matt Wieder's reaction. First time for the Cubs since 1980, in which they've had multiple game-ending grand slams in the same season. Barry Foote and Cliff Johnson did it back in that 80 season. Hayward walked his first time up. 5-0 Brewers. So it's being reported that right-hander Shane Baz, B-A-Z, is the player to be named later going to Tampa Bay. In the Chris Archer deal, he was the Pirates' first-round pick last year, 12th overall.
Wow.
So yeah, they gave up a significant haul.
They sure did. I mean, there were a lot of folks that thought maybe they gave up too much with Glasnow and Meadows, and thought that third piece wouldn't be a real significant prospect. But last year's #1 pick, I would assume, would be fairly high up the prospect list.
And Jeff Passan putting that on Twitter. High fly into center field as Lorenzo Cain makes the grab.
Well, there was a lot of talk when we were in Pittsburgh about that deal, and that the business side had a lot of influence, or that it was done for not just purely baseball reasons.
Braun on the warning track, retires La Stella. Calling all deadheads. Monday, August 27th, the Cubs proudly host their first Grateful Dead night at Wrigley Field. Fans who purchase tickets through Cubs.com/Grateful Dead receive an exclusive Cubs and Grateful Dead cap. A portion of the proceeds from every sale benefit the Rex Foundation. Make sure you arrive early to enjoy an acoustic pregame show at Gallagher Way and hear all your favorite Grateful Dead songs covered by Mr. Blotto. Oh man, if we could have had a Blotto on a home run. Again, visit Cubs.com/Grateful Dead. Not meant to be. Cubs done in the 4th, 5-0. Milwaukee. Chicago.com, presented by Nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich. Go to jeffvuk.com or follow him on social media. Nationwide is on your side. Fifth inning, Yelich, Aguilar, and Braun for the Brewers. Milwaukee on July 6th sat at 53-35, a 2.5 game lead over the Cubs. Since that date, they have gone 14-19, outscored by 31 runs. And the Cubs have overtaken them, and right now with a 3-game lead in the division. There's been talk of their bullpen maybe being a little overworked. You mentioned it in the open of our telecast. In August, the Milwaukee Pen has an ERA of 8.77 and has allowed at least a run in 9 of 11 games this month. So if you can get into that bullpen as early as you possibly can, that would be beneficial. And Chacin pretty good here early on. Zobrist throws out Yelich.
Summer of 4-3 for Yelich here today. 3 consecutive times on the ground to Zobrist. Yeah, and that's something that we would not have really considered earlier in the year. Get into that Brewer bullpen, because that was the strength of this club. But lately it has not been. Corey Knebel, among others, really struggling.
There's Aguilar, single, walk, and 2 runs. And he slams his bat to the dirt as Happ will retire him. And here comes Braun for the 3rd time. Already has 2 home runs today. The Tampa Bay Rays.
Hitting next, number 8, left fielder Brian Braun.
Blues a little more muted this time.
Yeah, they're starting to pick up.
Oh, yes.
Folks weren't paying attention to the announcement.
The Rays have been using this kind of hybrid, not really even hybrid, using a reliever to start games. The opener. They're on pace for fewer than 700 innings from their starting rotation. That would be the lowest in a full major league season since at least 1908. And it's a fascinating experiment. And you'd have to say so far it has worked fairly well. I just don't know if other teams are going to copy it or not, maybe in small doses, and we've seen it happen on occasion.
If they're successful, people will copy it. That's the nature of this game. It's like the old cereal commercial. Give it to Mikey. He'll try it. He'll eat anything. Give it to the Rays. They'll try it. Hey, they like it.
Hey, Mikey. Foul. Late call by Dan Molino.
No self-preservation. He had to get out of the way first. Curveball.
You're going to be amazed it's not the same swing, because the curveball in the exact same spot, both home runs.
Yeah. The second one a little beefier than the first, but still 2. Outstanding swings. Braun now with 14 home runs.
Broken bat roller. We'll get him this time. So including the double play, if you count that as 2, that's 8 straight retired by Quintana. 5-0. Milwaukee leads. Wilson Contreras and then Victor Caratini, who will pinch hit for Quintana.
Very quick fourth for Chachin, so in good shape in terms of the pitch count at 55.
On Contreras. I think he thought it was a strike, but it was ball one. He's not real happy. Two-0 serve is fouled.
Yeah, again, I don't think Chachin would tell you that his command has been very good today. He's getting away with it. He's got good movement on his fastball. Cubs, in the last week or so, I just think offensively been a little sluggish. Just been driving the ball. That series in Kansas City had one big game. Number of low hit games. The Bodie swing obviously bailed them out the other night. They were at risk of losing a home series for the first time in a long time.
Swing and a miss. The last 5 games, including today, the Cubs have been outscored 19-1 through the 5th inning. Called strike 3, bottom of the zone, two-seamer. Time now for the Lows, whole team together. Top teams in the National League starting play today. The Cubs have had the best mark in the league for a while. Braves and Phillies out of the East, and then Milwaukee. If the season ended, quote, today, Phillies Brewers would be the wild card matchup in Philadelphia.
Nationals have fallen 7 off the pace in the East. Cardinals are 5 back in the Central and just 1 behind Milwaukee in the loss column.
A 5-inning start for Quintana today as Caratini pinch hits. 0-2 on Victor. Jesse Chavez will be the first man out of the Cubs bullpen. Swing and a miss for the second out. Chachin seems to be getting stronger.
Strikeout number 7 for him. Circle change. Some kind of a change.
Chachin 11-4. The Brewers are 17-8. in his 25 starts. Only Aaron Nola, Miles Michaelis, and Max Scherzer have a better winning percentage among starting pitchers in the NL.
'70 and '71 lifetime. He is from Maracaibo, Venezuela.
One and a half is hit foul. You referenced earlier, some guys may be playing out of position due to a plethora of infielders. You look at their defensive numbers, they actually rank a little bit above the Cubs in defensive efficiency, which is the percentage of balls in play converted into outs. Quick pitch that time, it's 2-2. So however it has looked defensively, I'm sure their front office knows that number very well and felt comfortable moving some guys around.
Right, and so that becomes the question. So that's the whole body of work of the season. Now with these changes, are they going to be able to duplicate that, or you know, maybe you realize, yeah, we're going to give up a little bit with these changes, but not enough to not justify adding the bats.
Happ on for the second time from the 9 spot. And that will get Rizzo to the plate.
But again, much like the Rays, I think it's pretty interesting and pretty bold to do what they have done.
Anthony has struck out and retired on a nice play by Perez.
Well, this would be a good time for the big guy to pop one here. Get the Cubs back into the game, get the crowd fired up a little bit, put a little pressure on Chacin. They have not applied much today. He came into this one with good numbers, 5 out of 13 with a couple of home runs against the right-hander. The other thing about that shift, it doesn't just, you know, get outs, it saves bases. It's much tougher to go first to third on even if there's a ball that Perez tracks down in right field where he can't make a play on Rizzo. It'd be difficult for Happ to get to third. Saw back in the third when he made the play on Anthony, and Ian had to stop at third after his leadoff double and never did come around to score.
Three balls, no strikes on Anthony. Looks like he's in take mode. A 3-0 bunt would have been bold.
Yeah. I kind of like swinging there because you just don't know what you're going to get on 3-1. I understand what he's thinking down 5.
How about the Brewers have not had a runner at second base all day and lead 5-0. Because they've hit 3 home runs. Instead of stopping at second, they just continue to run.
Pass go, collect $200.
3-2 on Rizzo.
Why hasn't that number gone up, by the way?
What's that?
Pass go. The Monopoly. Seems like
due to inflation, should be about $2,000.
Yeah. Okay.
Happ takes off. Rizzo grounds to Perez. This is actually Arcia, the shortstop. Off to the 6th. Milwaukee 5, Cubs nothing.
Darvish throwing another simulated game this afternoon, 3 innings, about 55 pitches. Theo Epstein watching the entire session and said afterwards he looked really good. He was spinning the ball really well, maybe the best spin he's seen from him all year, and he looks like a guy who is going about his business on a mission to come back and help his team. He also gave us an update on Bryant, which he said he felt like he's in a good place, guys, pain-free, getting full range of motion as he finishes his swing. Got to get back into game shape, though. That's the next step for KB, swinging closer to game-type intensity. But if they could get 2 late-season acquisitions like those two, it sure would help the Cubs, right?
Darvish, Morrow, Bryant, Dunsing. There's a strike. Smiley, we're not quite sure yet. Jesse Chavez. And it's 1-2 on Perez.
Jesse's got that. Hey, boys, here we go. Let's get it on. Tempo. Just get it and go.
On the right field line. And Hayward will not have a play. I mentioned this off the top today. 11 games have been played in this season series. 7 of the 11 have ended in shutouts. The last 2 games, June 12th and 13th in Milwaukee, the Brewers winning 4-0 and 1-0. And they lead again today 5-0 here in the 6th inning. And if you're wondering, well, what about Cubs pitching? First game of the regular season matchup, 8-0 here at actually in Miller Park. 3-0 in Milwaukee, 1-0 here, 3-0 here, 2-0 here. So I guess score first is the bottom line in this season set.
Crooked number early and hold the line.
Old foul. The non-shutouts, the losing team, scoring 4, 2, 2, and 2.
He likes to swing it. He doesn't walk much. Chavez has got him in swing mode. Jesse has pitched 9 times for the Cubs, 12 2/3 innings. He's allowed just 2 runs. He has struck out 14, walked only 1. Off day yesterday, long outing from Cole Hamels Sunday, so the pen able to reset.
Strikeout to start the 6th.
The Newborn Fan Club is the perfect gift for parents of new Cubs to showcase what it means to be a Cub for life. Receive a photo from a custom birth announcement on the Wrigley Field marquee, Cubs birth certificate, pinstripe baby cap, and a Rookie of the Year Cubs onesie. Visit Cubs.com/kids for more information. There is a stylish youngster right there.
Moustakas fouls. Christopher checks in on Twitter. Monopoly Pass Go, you get 2,000 plus a debit card now.
Is that right?
Probably kidding. They install
I'll fall for anything.
They install Apple Pay on your phone. Your Pass Go. Now the Cubs will realign. Baez will head to the outfield grass. Here comes Listella. Zobrist will move over toward the shortstop position.
It's the blitz package. Moustakas with 22 home runs on the year, 2 since joining the Brewers. 54 at bats. Second overall pick by the Royals, 2007.
Behind David Price. Josh Vitters went right behind him, number 3 to the Cubs. I wouldn't say he was a free agent poster child in terms of having to wait, but I would call him maybe one of the poster children. He re-signed on March 11th with Kansas City after that very soft free agent market. He had turned down the qualifying offer of $17.4 million. Ended up returning on a $5.5 million deal before being traded to the Brewers. Now, $5.5's a lot of money, but there had to be some sleepless nights even after signing.
You know, it's St. Charles money compared to Boardwalk money.
We're going to keep
the
Monopoly analogy flowing.
It's Oriental Avenue.
I haven't played in so long. You're all over Baltic.
One of these days we'll have a Monopoly property off.
Like I said, you would win. I'm a little rusty. Marvin Gardens.
Marvin Gardens, yeah, that was a good stretch right there. Ventnor and the third one, Atlantic maybe.
Sounds right. 1-2 on Kratz. If the Cubs come back today, the bullpen will likely be a big reason why. That offense gets lost in the shuffle when you're able to come back. You really only have a chance to do it if they can keep the Brewers right around 5 runs.
Yeah, bullpens grab headlines when they preserve leads, but this is a big part of it too. Is to hold the other club down when you're down big early. If you can hang in there and give your team a chance to come back, and that's what the Cubs have done more than anybody in baseball this year.
And if you're Joe, there is that point. 5-0's probably that point where you're not playing the matchups as much, certainly, as you would in a tie game or the lead. You're looking for maybe more than 3 outs in a couple of spots. So it puts even a little more pressure on guys in maybe less than favorable matchup situations. And a high drive out into deep left center. Eric Kratz with a home run. Their 4th of the day. Six to nothing.
We talked about Kratz earlier, a big, strong guy. This looked like a backdoor cutter. Moved right into the barrel.
Eric Kratz, who on his resume has parts of 13 seasons at Triple-A alone. Chavez with a great play. He and Chacin with the quick glove, but Jesse's not happy about giving up the home run. It's now 6-0 Brewers.
Sports. So let's hear what you've got to say. Join Sierra Santos and Luke Stuckmeyer on Facebook Live weeknights at 5 for The Rush, presented by GMC.
Well, with Chacin starting today, I started to think, Jorge De La Rosa is now a Cub, Tyler Chatwood. How about where these three guys rank all time on Rockies lists? They're all in the top 10 in wins, ERA, and wins above replacement. De La Rosa, the franchise leader with 86 victories. Jorge now pitching in the Cubs bullpen. Baez trying to split the alleyway, and he will. And he needed it. First hit on the homestand.
Third hit of the day for the Cubs, all doubles. Second time in a leadoff role. Last time it was half and the Cubs did not score. First pitch slider, and he dropped the elbow. The ball backed up on him. He's gotten away with some misfires today, but not this time. Baez makes him pay by whacking one off the wall in left center.
Snaps an 0 for 18 for Javi. Stay right on Zobrist. 1-1 the count.
Obviously, and it goes without saying, you need to put a little pressure on Chacin here. If you put a couple runs on the board against him, get some traffic out there, at least force Counsell to go to that bullpen, bring those guys in a high leverage situation with a couple men on base, a ballpark rocking. Just change the feel of this game. It's been very comfortable for the Brewers so far. Chacin, as I mentioned, from Venezuela, he is 9th all-time in terms of wins by a Venezuelan-born pitcher. Felix Hernandez, #1 on that list.
So Felix heading to the bullpen in Seattle. Edwin Diaz, have you seen the year he's put together?
Oh my goodness.
He's got 46 saves. The single season record is in reach. K-Rod with 62 back in 2008. And the Mariners also getting Robinson Cano back from the suspended list tonight. They're in Oakland. The A's won 7-6 last night as Zobrist fouls on a check swing. It's 3-2.
The Mariners swept a 4-game set in Houston, and Diaz had saves in all 4 of those ball games.
Deep breath by the right-hander as he gets the sign from his catcher. The stretch in the 3-2. Strike call.
No. And rarely argues, and when he does, he's pretty much always right.
Because he did not throw him out. Joe Madden coming out to protect him.
I guarantee Phil Cuzzy. And once Zobrist turns on you as an umpire, you're thinking, I got it wrong. And that was pretty quick thumb there for Joe. Now, because he obviously within his rights, you're not supposed to argue balls and strikes. Usually an umpire will let you vent a little bit. Sometimes if they feel like they've missed it, they just want it to go away. They want the problem to go away, and you'll see that quick hook. Quick thumb, I guess I should say.
And it looked like Cuzzy was saying your job is to get him out of here in terms of.
Yeah, get him out of here, but don't stay and berate me.
And Joe now might as well and will get his money's worth after being ejected for the second time on the homestand.
Well, that's a big play in this game because, as we said, an opportunity to put some pressure on Chassin here in a 6-0 ball game. Would have been 2 on, nobody out. Backdoor slider. Kratz has done a nice job presenting pitches here today. Stole that one.
Unofficially, I believe, his 4th ejection of the season for Joe. 1 out now, Jason Hayward. He was going to let Ben argue to an extent. He's not known to curse. He's got a great reputation. But once Joe got him out of there, and Joe continued because he said that's enough. I thought he might give Joe a little longer leash too. Up and in. I think Joe was arguing even harder because, as you said, Zobrist rarely does it.
Yeah, he's gonna be out there in a hurry to back up Ben because from the dugout you can't really see in and out very well. You can see up and down, but you can't see in and out. Generally, a manager won't get too worked up unless one of his guys, like Zobrist with a real keen eye, reacts the way he did. And it's been a frustrating day coming off the big win on Sunday. Nothing going on here today. Maybe Joe just trying to fire up the troops a little bit.
Ground ball. Shift has worked pretty well for the Brewers. Perez making this play. Runner at third, 2 outs. And I say that, and, if the Brewers weren't shifting earlier, they might have made all those plays as well, but a lot of ground balls in that area of the infield. Craig Counsell and his pitching coach Derek Johnson talk it over. It's Brandon Hyde, the Cubs bench coach, and now the acting manager the rest of the day. Last time he did it, the Cubs came back and won on Friday against Washington. To Tommy is a strike. Got away from the right-hander. Chassin due to lead off the top of the 7th. Pitch count at 90.
Yeah, a couple of things for Craig Counsell to consider here. Bullpen has struggled lately, so does he stay with his starter as long as possible, or does he go, well, I got some guys that need to get things pointed in the right direction. Do I run them out there with a comfortable lead?
We had the day off yesterday. Driven to left, but Braun grabs it. Cubs have not scored through 6, and they just lost their manager for the rest of the day. 6-0 Milwaukee.
supporting Kyle Schwarber's second annual block party. Enjoy games, food, drinks, live music alongside Kyle's teammates and first responders. Your support will help provide resources through education, essential tools, and experiences in their efforts to better serve their communities. Tickets at cubscharities.org.
2 strikes to Chacin. Swing and a miss, strike 3. It's Joe's 3rd ejection. 2018. If you like keeping track. Lorenzo Cain. With 1 out, nobody on.
Imagine there's some place where you could wager at the beginning of the year as to which manager will be ejected the most.
Well, for years, it was just pick Bobby Cox, right?
Yeah, it was a pretty safe bet.
Ball and 2 strikes.
Bobby Cox was ejected 161 times in his Hall of Fame career.
Basically a full season of baseball.
Another Hall of Famer, John McGraw, second with 132.
Where was Earl?
Earl was 3rd. He was tied with DeRocher. Earl and Leo both ejected 94 times.
Cain with an emergency hack. Fouls it off.
Among actives, Ron Gardenhire, ejected 73 times.
We will see Gardy and the Detroit Tigers next week on the upcoming road trip. Nicholas Castellanos had a 5-hit night against the White Sox last night.
So now we got to dig up the rate stats. We got to get ejections per game managed.
Yeah. Cain strikes out. We wish Leonis Martin, the former Cub, get well wishes. He's now with the Cleveland Indians and dealing with what has been called a life-threatening bacterial infection. Sounds like he's been doing a little bit better the last couple of days, but that was very scary. A strike called on Yelich. Ben Zobrist has been paying attention, and you know he has. He better be ready here, because he's made the play all 3 Yelich at bats.
Yelich happy to see someone other than Quintana out there on the mound. Among the league leaders in line drive rate, he makes a lot of hard contact. Power numbers have gone up, and you would expect that moving to Milwaukee from Miami.
Slugging .518. It was overall a rough ride for Quintana while he handled Yelich. He gave up 5 runs on 6 hits. Half those hits were home runs. Cain 1, Braun hit 2.
Yeah, in the last little while, a handful of starts for Q. The first inning has been a bit of an issue for the longest time. That was not a problem for him.
Called strike 3.
How about that?
St. Xavier University brings you the 7th inning stretch.
Please direct your attention to the outfield video board.
All right. Let me hear you. Good and loud. On 1, on 2, on 3. Take me out to the ball game.
Kyle Schwarber here in the bottom half of the 7th. Cubs held scoreless, just 3 hits today against Elise Chiassin, who's bidding for his 12th win against just 4 losses.
First pitch apparently on the outside corner.
It's similar to the one he rung up Ben Zobrist on. It's a little bit of guesswork for home plate umpire because they set up inside of the catcher because they don't want to get smoked in the mask or foul tips. So sometimes the outside part of the plate can be a little bit of a guess.
Seed has the jump, 1-2. Contreras and then a pinch hitter likely or Chavez, who struck out the side in the top of this 7th. Tapper foul.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Joe's starting to think about maybe moving Anthony out of the leadoff spot in the batting order. I mean, it's been very successful. Anthony does great work there. Just imagine that if the Cubs continue to struggle offensively, that he may be thinking about trying to mix things up a little bit, and it's kind of ironic, Schwarber, who was tried in that spot last year and really struggled, again, just think about the approach, he fits, and there's that backdoor breaker again.
Really upset.
Well, that's what happens. Once you miss out there once as an umpire, everybody else is kind of locked in on it. See the ball leave the hand. You see the trajectory of the pitch. You're thinking, no way, that's a strike. And it curls a little bit, but it's clearly off the plate.
Pitch to Contreras.
I don't think Cuzzy's been overall that bad today, but there's a little bit of a weakness there, that backdoor slider to the left-handed hitters.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point about Kyle Schwarber. Leads the team in walks. And I've long held that the Cubs have actually a lot of good leadoff options. That's part of, I think, the reason why we've seen different guys do it. When Almora was hot, even though he doesn't take a lot of walks, he was swinging the bat well, getting on base. Ben Zobrist, a guy who has done it a fair amount. Line drive, and it is caught on the slide by Christian Yelich for out number 2.
Fallout Boy is coming home to play Wrigley Field Saturday, September 8th. Special guests Rise Against and Machine Gun Kelly. Don't miss out on the final concert of the season here at Wrigley Field. Tickets are on sale now at Cubs.com/concerts.
It looks like a split screen, but it's not. That line in the middle, that is the facing of the upper deck, just to the right of our broadcast booth. A cool look. Albert Almora Jr. will pinch bat. I'll tell you another guy who could do it. Jason Hayward. But I agree with you. I think at some point here soon, if the Cubs collectively will start hitting, that Joe will make that change just to shake it up. The aforementioned Jorge De La Rosa, former Brewer, former Rocky, among other teams.
But has not found success as a pinch hitter this year, just 2 out of 21.
Corey Knebel, who has struggled, no longer in the closer's role. They're playing the matchups.
Most likely Jeremy Jeffress, but Josh Hader, see him finishing off the ball game. Council going to try to get Knebel back in there in a relatively comfortable situation.
2-2 swing and a miss. Chacin shutting out the Cubs through 7 innings on 3 hits.
$9.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game. Plus, get a free subscription to MLB At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv to take advantage of this special offer.
The Cubs moves near the deadline, and after it, adding bullpen Jorge De La Rosa, recently signed. Most of those numbers compiled as a Diamondback. Jhoulys Chacin with 10 strikeouts today. 3rd time in his career he has hit double digits. His career high is 12. And I would imagine he's done for the day.
2nd scoreless outing against the Cubs this year. And he stepped up in a big way. His club lost a heartbreaker in Atlanta on Sunday. These are huge games for them. Huge games for the Cubs as well, but you feel like there's a little more pressure on Milwaukee.
Second Cub appearance with a left-hander and a swing and a miss. That's probably his best pitch, right? The changeup or split.
Yeah, and as a former starting pitcher, that allowed him to compete against both left-handed and right-handed hitters. As a matter of fact, for his career, I've always thought of him as more of a reverse split guy because of that off-speed pitch, better against right-handed hitters. That has not been the case this year. Boosts the Cubs' left-handed inventory. De La Rosa, Wilson, and Montgomery currently in the bullpen, although he's scheduled to make a start here in the Pittsburgh series.
Punched into center over the leaping Zobrist. Big day for Ryan Braun. 2 for 3 with 2 two-run homers.
Maybe the adage should be, if at first you don't succeed, don't try again, because he tried the same pitch. The curveball stayed up in the zone, and carbon copy. A high finish, the home run swing from Ryan Braun.
Popped foul out of play. We are all about rarities in this game, right? Stuff that either had never happened before or rarely happens. David Bodie's grand slam was the second game-ending grand slam with his team trailing 3-0 at the point of the home run. The first time it happened was back in the mid-1930s. Ronald Acuna pulled off a rare feat yesterday for the Braves as they swept a doubleheader against Miami. He led off both games with a home run. And appears to only be the 4th player to ever do that.
Ricky Henderson, Brady Anderson, and Harry Hooper. That was our buddy Craig Lynch's trivia of the day in the press dining room.
Oh, really?
Today. Yeah.
That's a good one. Other news and notes around the game. The Cardinals are planning on using Carlos Martinez out of the bullpen if and when he returns from his 3rd DL stint. I think the thought was they brought him back twice as a starter and it didn't work out. So late in the year, they're just deciding to not push it.
And you know, they've had some issues in their bullpen. They've got some talented young guys in their rotation now. Clearly a loss. He was supposed to be their ace. He really hasn't pitched like it much of the year, and a lot of it is due to the injury.
Braun strikes out. And it will bring up Perez.
I mentioned where Sachin ranks in terms of Venezuelan pitchers' wins. Jorge De La Rosa is from Mexico. Among Mexican-born pitchers, his 104 wins tie him for 4th all time. Fernando Valenzuela,
okay.
Esteban Loaiza, Giovanni Gallardo, and then De La Rosa and Ismael Valdez. In case Mexican-born pitchers is ever a Jeopardy category, you'll be ready.
Loaiza's name in the news recently, not for reasons he would like. Some legal trouble. Tap foul. Will Myers getting a look at 3rd base. With the Padres, and I guess Christian Villanueva will play a little middle infield as they try to figure out who can play where, looking ahead to 2019. I think in Myers' case, just to add another tool to the mix defensively. Two outs. Here's Moustakas. Six nothing Brewers. They've hit 4 home runs today. Ground ball, base hit. Aguilar will be held by Ed Cedar at 3rd base.
And that wasn't a we got a big lead, so I'm not going to send him hold. That was I got a slow-footed runner and Jason Hayward's in right field hold.
Signed baseball just sold for $623,000. That's a new record.
Who signed it?
Babe Ruth. Honus Wagner, Ty Cobb, Cy Young, Triz Speaker, George Sisler, Walter Johnson, Connie Mack, Matt Lajoie, Eddie Collins, Pete Alexander.
Wow.
The day they all entered the Hall of Fame. June 12th, 1939. First class. It had been, I guess, choosing Hall of Fame members for 3 years. With most Hall of Famers had already passed away at that point. The only living inductee of that original class who did not sign the ball was Lou Gehrig. I guess that day was headed to Minnesota to the Mayo Clinic, where he ended up being diagnosed with ALS. So that ball sold at an auction for over $600,000 previously. The most expensive autographed baseball went for $345,000, signed by the Babe and Gehrig. I guess the way the ball was signed, there was like some method to it. They weren't just randomly placed.
Did Babe get the sweet spot?
That is fair for Kratz. Aguilar's in. It's a double for Eric Kratz. He's knocked in 2 in this game, and it's 7-0. Cobb, Ruth, and Wagner, who at the time were considered the 3 greatest players of all time, had their signatures stacked on one panel of the ball. Walter Johnson, considered at that point the greatest pitcher, and his signature above those 3. You see it bounces to LaStella. And the Brewers done in the 8th, adding a run to their lead. It's 7-0 here in the series opener. Miller Lite hold true moment. Cub fan giving the ball to a young Brewers fan. Got to keep it light. And
Yeah.
again, I'm guessing that there was a high five later in the game.
The little brother there, I don't think was all that excited about the delivery. I'm assuming it's a brother. He's little enough. Anywho, here comes Knable for the 39th time. We've talked about his recent struggles. Overall 2-3 with an ERA now at 4.91.
In that transaction we just showed you, there was a high five to be named later.
Maybe
she was so polite about it, you know, because you don't want to interrupt the celebration of making a catch. Two and 0 on Ian Happ. Strike, fastball 96. Knable was an all-star last year. Actually debuted with Detroit in 2014. Most of his career wearing a Milwaukee uniform. Strike three. That's the 11th strikeout for Brewers pitching.
Chacin today, 7 innings, 3 hits, scoreless ball, a couple of walks, 10 punch outs. He might not agree with me, but it looked to me early on that he got away with some stuff, that he didn't have his command. Then he settled in, took control of the ball game.
It kind of fell apart for Knable last week in that game against the Padres. They walked the bases loaded to start the ninth.
Upper 90s heater, sharp curveball, his primary weapons.
I don't know what's worse for a short reliever. And since you pitched, you'd be a good guy to at least ask the question. Would you rather, I'm asking you to pick the lesser of two evils. Would you rather be a guy giving up way too many hits and home runs, or walking people?
Well, I would probably want to be the guy that's walking people, figuring if my stuff was short and I'm getting knocked all over the ballpark, that's probably not going to play in high leverage situations.
Good
if
answer.
I'm walking guys, if I can minimize that to a degree and I still have plus stuff, I should be okay.
So you're not of the at least I'm throwing strikes camp.
Not if I'm giving up all kinds of damage.
If the strikes end up in the bleachers, then no.
That's the old post-game justification after you get hammered, right? You just get lit up, and the writers are
saying, well, percentage is great.
Yeah, I challenged guys. Maybe you ought to rethink that.
One-two tally. Here it comes to Rizzo. It's outside on a four-seamer. Late life.
When Barry Bonds was doing his thing, hitting a home run about every third at bat there back in the day, he was very coy, or maybe coy is not the right word. He was always applauding pitchers who challenged him. Well, I give that guy a lot of credit, man. He challenged me.
Maybe setting up the next guy who wanted to nibble.
Yeah, I'm going to challenge him too and just watch him jog around the bases.
Two fouled upstairs. Big crowd, 40,000. 441. This is old school, this series. Both games starting at 1:20. Tomorrow is getaway day. We hope to avoid the rain.
Four in Pittsburgh, off day Monday, and then a series with the Tigers. Just a two-gamer, and not an off day again for a while. After the Monday off day, September 13th, the next one on the schedule.
Yeah, the Brewers need to pick up ground in terms of games behind. The Cubs will have to pick up ground on Milwaukee in terms of games played. And the good news is they're 5 up in the loss column. They have 1 more win and 5 fewer losses than the Brewers. So right now they have 4 games in hand to make up. This long battle continues. These are fun when Anthony really digs in with 2 strikes. And Knebel will win the battle as Braun calls it in.
Manager's dream what Craig Counsell's getting here today. A solid start from his guy, good offensive output from his lineup, a chance to get a struggling reliever into a lopsided game, and the rest of his bullpen.
If the Cubs can't get a run, and they only have 4 outs left, this would be 8 shutouts involved in the first 12 games of the season series. This is dead ball era stuff. It would also be 3 consecutive shutouts for the Cubs bats against Brewers pitching. Still 0-2 to Baez. Boy, the wonders one swing of the bat can do for you. If Bodie doesn't hit the grand slam the other night, Cubs might lose that game 3-0. Lose the series 2 out of 3. Trail here 7-0. That could end up being one of the biggest hits of the season for the Chicago Cubs. Baez strikes out. We go to the 9th. It's 7-zip Brewers. Conversation with Phil Cuzzi. Oh, and he
just
threw him
got
out.
around. Yeah, well,
Wow.
it was a long conversation.
Was it ever?
I'm surprised Cuzzy allowed him to stay there as long as he did. It looked like it wasn't particularly heated for the longest time, but
wow, that was the whole commercial break.
Yeah,
Ben chatting with Cuzzy.
I think Ben went out there with a mission that Joe went out in support of him and got ran, and I think Zoe said, well, he was coming out of the game for Russell anyway, so I think he was going to go out there and just have his piece with Cuzzy and go ahead and almost invite the ejection.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was heated when it started, but Ben was certainly dominating the conversation, and then toward the end it started to get a little more tense based on what we were looking at. Baez second, Russell short. Jonathan Scope hits one a ton foul to left. One of their new acquisitions, and he was really swinging the bat well before he got traded with Baltimore. But a slow start so far with the Brewers.
Now 154 as a Brewer, 39 at bats. He's yet to hit a home run in a Brewer uniform.
In fact, he was the American League Player of the Week just before he got traded. With 5 home runs in 6 games, July 23rd through the 29th. Swing and a miss, strike 3. The toast of the game is presented by Binny's Beverage Depot, and today it goes to Jolice Chassin.
6 shutout innings, I should say, or at least I will try to say. Earlier this year, 7 today.
Binny's Beverage Depot is the official champagne provider of the Chicago Cubs.
Some small part of my small brain said, I don't want to talk about Chassin anymore.
Well, and also trying to say Chassin, 7, 6, and shutout all in the same sentence can get a little tricky.
Tomorrow we'll turn our attention to Kyle Hendricks and Junior Guerra.
I want to go the TV route, the TV analogy, and say the professor against Uncle June.
Uncle June?
Yeah, the Sopranos.
Oh.
Uncle Junior. You're not familiar?
Yeah. I remember Junior. I would say I have some catching up to do on the Sopranos. A hit or miss experience for me.
Always had a nice year.
Yeah, that's we talked a lot about their starters throughout this season. Davies on the DL, Nelson not back as soon as they had hoped. Chassin really stepping up. Freddie Peralta, the youngster, and Junior Guerra.
Back-to-back Ks for De La Rosa. Kyle's been throwing the ball better as in terms of his recent work. Kept the Cubs in the game on Friday against the Nationals. Gave up 2 runs in his 6 innings and some soft hits. Didn't walk anybody.
Here's a good note for you. The Cubs have 4 games this year, 4 starts in which a starter has struck out 9 or more. 2 of those by Cole Hamels.
2 of his 3.
2 of his 3.
Ground ball to the left side. Diving stop by LaStella. The throw's late. That's a tough play for either guy, but maybe an extra step there, and he had to leave his feet. Probably should have let Russell take it. It actually looked like it took a little bit of a right turn after it hit the grass.
Yeah, it looked like it had a lot of spin on it, a little masse action, and then when it hit the ground, it kicked back the other direction. Real good effort there by Tommy, but I agree it might have been an easier chance for Russell. In all likelihood, a base hit either way. Yelich runs well, and he runs pretty fast. But yeah, Darvish punched out 9 April 7th against Milwaukee. Quintana had a 10 strikeout game June 6th against the Phils, and then a pair of 9 strikeout games for Hamels. Point that out only to say that that was part of the game plan, acquiring Darvish and Chatwood. Better stuff, more strikeouts, fewer balls in play. Hasn't really panned out.
Corrado John Soprano Jr. was played by Dominic Chianese in the HBO Classic. Personality-wise, not the case, but in terms of the character and how he looked with the glasses, looked exactly like my grandfather.
Oh, yeah?
Exactly. I'll give you 3 seconds to name the actor who played the professor on Gilligan's Island.
Oh, Russell something.
Yeah.
Or something Russell. Russell Nixon?
Russell Johnson.
Russell Johnson.
John Gabriel originally, but mainly Russell Johnson.
I mean, there was an original professor before the professor that we know. I didn't remember that.
It was, I guess, the pilot, the original pilot that I don't believe ever aired. They did not have Russell Johnson. But then when the show got picked up, he took on that iconic role of trying to figure out how to get them off the island, and I think he did on a few occasions, but it wouldn't have helped the show to do it, so they failed.
Thank God for Gilligan.
We go to the bottom of the ninth. It's 7-0 Milwaukee. Pittsburgh Cubs and the Pirates in the opener, and our coverage begins at 6. You can stream the game live on the NBC Sports app. NL Central standings are sponsored by Corona. Brewers trying to get within 2 of the lead. Cardinals lurking. The Pirates probably at this point looking for a wild card spot, but I'll tell you, it's been a very competitive division. The Reds, after a 3-18 start, have been a 500 club.
4 of the 5 teams in the division above 500. Dan Jennings, veteran lefty, on for the 57th time. He's been a busy man this year.
Perez now playing first. Scope stays in and plays second. So Aguilar is out. Herky jerky style for the left-hander Jennings. Ball one on Addison Russell. He just came in to play short.
Abrupt actions there from Jennings. The Cubs today in 9 innings struck out 12. The Cubs pitching I'm talking about struck out 12 and walked 1. Not normally a line you associate with giving up 7 runs.
Two and two.
Cubs with just 5 reaches today. A couple of walks, 3 hits. All 3 hits are doubles. 2 of them came leading off innings, but they weren't able to bring them around. Good news after his simulated game here this morning.
Well, it is why the biggest development long term potentially for the Cubs Sunday was Hamels' performance. That could loom incredibly large.
Well, it was just good, you know, you're looking at the numbers he posted with the Rangers, so you're wondering. Hamels in decline. Is his stuff not what it once was? And in 3 starts with the Cubs, it looks like the guy we saw so often pitching for the Phillies, including the guy who threw the no-no here in his final Phillies start.
Two bounces. Arcia. One away.
If Hamels was having success, but the stuff didn't look that sharp, well, maybe he's just a little fortunate. But the stuff has been so good, it gives you reason to believe he's going to be able to pitch at a very high level for the rest of the year. Not be that great every time out, but I like to feel just about every time he goes out there, you're going to have the edge in the pitching matchup.
Got a pretty full rosin bag. Here's a pitch. It's a strike. Hefty home run time. The leaders Baez and Schwarber. Little things in life. Soft liner to Ryan Braun, and the Cubs down to their final chance. It will be Tommy La Stella. Oh, and 1 to La Stella. Here's the pitch. 1-1. Cubs with the biggest lead in the National League. Even if the Brewers hang on and they're up 7-0, it'll be a 2-game lead. The other two divisions separated by just 1. And that's it for the 8th time in the first 12 games of this season series. A shutout. And the last 3 games have been won by Milwaukee in shutout fashion dating back to mid-June.
And after all the drama here with the walk-off grand slam from David Bodie on Sunday night, kind of a no drama loss for the Cubs here today as the Brewers take control early. Jumped all over Jose Quintana, a couple of home runs, 3 runs in the first inning, and they never looked back.
So for JD, for Kelly, and our entire NBC Sports Chicago crew here at beautiful Wrigley Field, Len Casper with your final score: Milwaukee 7 and the Cubs nothing. We're back with you 6 o'clock Central Time Thursday night from Pittsburgh. The Cubs and the Pirates. Coming up next, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. Post game live. Stay tuned.